Trying to decide between Legacy and Black Series? Well, we're going to do a comparison of the Dooku version of both today. Stick around. We'll look at those next. Welcome back, but before we get started, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button down here in the corner to help the channel out. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you know when the latest videos go live. Also, don't forget, right across the bottom down here, those are our socials. Check those out. Follow those, because that's where a lot of times I put the latest and greatest information as far as when videos are going to come out, what our upcoming videos are going to be, and things of that nature, so that way you can keep up on the latest and greatest. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Today we are going to be doing a comparison. See, a lot of people have asked, you know, which way should I go? Should I go Legacy? Should I go Black Series? Well, with each saber, it's different, because depending on when the saber was made will dictate on, honestly, how the electronics are. You know, a lot of people like the Black Series sabers because it has so many different functions with the blade as far as effects that you can get and stuff. But not every single one of the Hasbro's lightsabers actually do those. So that's part of what we're going to look at today. Today we're going to do a comparison of the Dooku Legacy saber, and I have a buddy of mine that let me borrow his Dooku Black Series Force FX lightsaber. So we're going to unbox this, we're going to take a look at it, and we're going to do comparisons between the two. So let me go ahead and get this thing unboxed. Now, as many of you guys know, I've already done a review video on the Dooku Legacy lightsaber, and the link to that video is going to be up here in the corner for you if you want to go take a look at that. That'll give you the ins and outs of the Dooku saber itself that you can get from Galaxy's Edge. The main thing today that I want to talk about is the comparison between the two. We're gonna look at the Black Series, and then we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison of a number of different things with the two different sabers. So starting out inside the box, it comes packaged pretty nicely. It comes pieced though. Everything's kind of different parts. So we've got the pommel, and then we have the separate battery chassis, and then inside the box is where the actual saber itself comes. So we're going to take that out, set that here. Now it does have a display stand, and the display stand, honestly, let me get it out here, is very similar in design. For anybody who hasn't seen before, very similar in design to these type of stands that the Master Replicas used to come with. It's got the mounting holes on the backside so you can hang it on the wall if you want. It also has the padded feet on there so you can set it on your desk or shelf, whatever, and then the plastic little stand pieces that go inside these grooves to be able to display it. Very similar, like I said, to a Master Replica. You can kind of see a little bit in the very top corner over here on the next shelf up. But the stand on those, it's very, very similar. So the Dooku is one of the older Black Series that you can get. It's one of the older styles, and what I mean by that is this particular saber, the Dooku, the blade is non-detachable. So unlike a lot of your newer Black Series Force FX, I think now they're the Force FX Elite. Those are the ones that pretty much have the removable blade. This one here, the blade is non-removable. You can see here, and I'll angle it. this blade is permanently mounted inside. Now, I know that I've seen that there are some different YouTube videos out there on how you can disassemble this, take the blade out, and make it to where it's a display style, just like your Legacy. But that's if you want to go through all of those steps. So let's go ahead and do a comparison here of the different pieces. So the battery chassis are virtually identical when you look at it. So I mean, it looks like Legacy. You know, there's a lot of stuff with the Legacy sabers that are very, very similar in the actual design that originated with Hasbro before Disney started doing the Legacy series. So while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and throw some batteries inside my Dooku, because just like I've stated before, I don't keep mine stored with batteries in the chassis, just because I don't want to run the risk of leaking. And I have yet to purchase the lithium batteries that are supposedly guaranteed not to leak, and mainly I haven't done that, but just because the batteries are so much more expensive. Me personally, I'd rather just get the hilt, take the batteries out, put them in a Ziploc bag, and have them set to the side for when I get ready to use them. And I mean, because it's quick and easy to be able to put the batteries inside the hilt itself versus, you know, running the risk of damage to the hilt. And, you know, I don't want to run that risk, and I don't want to, you know, spend, you know, the $8 to $12 for, you know, per hilt for batteries that, honestly, I mean, you can see mine sit on the wall most of the time as displays. It's just not cost effective for me to do that. May be different for you, but if you do want to keep them with batteries in them, I would highly recommend getting those lithium batteries, so that way you don't have to worry about if they leak, because for everything that I've read and been told, they are guaranteed not to leak. So anyway, got some batteries in my Dooku chassis. This is, of course, my Legacy. The pummel caps both are very similar. You can see this is my Legacy, and this is my the Black Series. The only way I can really tell the difference, honestly, is the Black Series still has the sticker on the front. Very, very similar in design. They even have the same kind of little, I guess, a pinky support on there that I will look at. But the connection, I don't know if you guys can see, the Legacy does tend to be darker in color. It does have a lighter color on the Black Series version of it. So let me go ahead and we get the batteries put in my Legacy. There we go. Now, something I will say that I have decided to start doing with mine, and I haven't done it with this one yet, is just for the threads. And mainly I started doing this and decided to do this because of, as many of you guys have seen, my upcoming custom lightsaber build that I'm going to do. One of the things they recommend is a lube grease to put on the threads so that you don't get the squeaking. It helps to prevent from cross threading, damaging the threads. Just goes on a lot smoother. Just a little dab of this and wipe it around the threads really helps out with being able to protect those threads. And I'm going to be doing that with each and every one of those. Got this tube. I got it off of Amazon. It's multi-purpose synthetic grease. See, that's the one that I'm using. It was just a few dollars off of Amazon for that tube, and it only takes a little dab on there, you know, to be able to lubricate those threads properly so that you won't damage those. So something to think about. I'll put a link down below in the description section for that if it's something that you decide you want to look at getting into as well. So go ahead and insert the battery chassis, and it goes in pretty much about the same way on the Black Series, and thread this on. Threads, a lot more on the threads. There we go. All right, so let's look at these two pretty much side by side. Looking at the two of them, there's not a lot of difference in size, honestly. There is a variation as far as, let me get it down here where you can see, variation as far as the emitter side goes. As far as the design, it looks like there's a little bit more of a lip on your Legacy here. It's got like a little notch around it, where the Black Series has got more of just a completely rounded off edge right there. They both have the gold accent that's on there, a little bit more defined and larger on the Legacy, it looks like, than the Black Series. The blade piece here, the kind of the handguard, is a little different. There's more points and like a sharper edge on there on the Legacy than on the Black Series. I'll put the blade in a little bit so you guys can see with the blade comparison. I'm just doing it right now so you got a good idea of, you know, being able to tell which one is which. Switches, big difference in switch. You got a black switch on your Black Series, and you got the chrome switch that kind of blends in a little bit more, makes it look a little nicer on there on your Legacy version. So it sits in there much nicer, kind of blends in. The black switch for me actually is kind of an eyesore because it's in a place where it should be more of a silvery design, with the ridge going across the bottom on there. So I think Legacy did better as far as that look goes. Size-wise, as far as dimensions, they're pretty much about the same length on there, and the same as far as the diameter around the handle. So let me flip us over here so that we can see the bottom. And looking at the bottom, this is going to be a lot harder because of the blade on the Black Series, so we'll do it this way. You can see again that the Legacy is a much darker, deeper red than the piece on the Black Series. The gold accents are a little bit more goldish looking on the Legacy as well. They both have the CoverTech wheels on the side. Now, one thing I will say, I do like the CoverTech wheel better on the Black Series, mainly because you can see this has a black screw on the CoverTech wheel, whereas it's a silver screw on the Legacy. So I think that has a big difference there in as far as the look, because this helps the CoverTech wheel honestly to blend in with the black banding that's on there. Alright, so on the bottom, and I know I'm getting a lot of glare off of there, and I'm trying not to do that too much so you guys aren't being blinded. But as you can see, it looks like there's more holes on the Legacy one than there is the Black Series, speaker holes wise, to be able to make it to where, you know, you've got better sound coming out of that. So let's go ahead and get a blade inserted into our Legacy so that we can do a comparison of blades and sound. All right, so let's start out with the ignition. Now, the one here on this side, this is the Black Series. The Legacy is on the other side here, so if you're watching it on the screen, I guess this would be your right, my left. So we'll go ahead and activate both. That's the Legacy, that's the Black Series. Now, I can say that the Black Series is much louder as far as sound. So, that's your Black Series sound. And then it's a more subtle sound with the Legacy. So the Legacy's got a little bit more of a subtle, lower volume, honestly, coming out of it. Blade-wise, and I know it's going to be really difficult for you guys to see it on the screen, but the Legacy blade is actually brighter, which is this one, and you might be able to tell a little bit more on there. It is brighter than the Black Series, and that could honestly be one of two things. Depending on the batteries that are in this one here, the batteries may not be as strong, but also it could just be because this is an older lightsaber than the Legacy is. Let's see. No sound on movement from the Black Series. Get some sound movement from the Legacy, and of course we all know the Legacy is not very sensitive. It does not have smooth swing, so you're not going to get that. Let me go turn them both off for a second here. So we have really no motion sensing going on the Black Series. The Legacy, you got your clash, you got your movement, and that's pretty much all you get with most all of your Legacies. Your Black Series, let's see on Clash for Black Series. So, I mean, you really have to work this thing to get any sound out of it. And there is no clash effect. You get a movement of sound effect, but there's no clash. So you don't get any clash, no flashing of the blade or anything like that on the Dooku. So, as far as looking at them in comparison, I would say, honestly, the better buy of these two is going to be your Legacy. You got a detachable blade. You've got, which is a big thing between them, especially if you're wanting something to be able to display without having to tear the whole thing apart to take the blade off like you're going to have to do with your Black Series. You don't have a clash effect on the Black Series versus the Legacy does. The only real honest thing that I can see that the Black Series has over the Legacy is the volume of the audio. There is a much louder speaker, it seems, on the Black Series than the Legacy, and so that really, on this particular version of Black Series saber, the Legacy, in my opinion, is the better buy. It's going to be cheaper. When they initially came out, at least they were cheaper. I think now, if you can find one of the Black Series at GameStop or somewhere, you're going to pay probably around the same price. But you do get, like I said, you do get the blade with it. You're going to have to pay an extra $45 to $50 something to get a blade to go on your Legacy. Unless you already have blades, then you don't have to worry about that. So, all in all, I honestly think that the Legacy is going to be your better buy in this case. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your comments. Leave them comment down below as to which one do you think. I mean, if you have the Legacy version, what do you think about it? If you have the Black Series, after seeing this review, are you thinking about possibly getting one of the Legacies instead? Personally, I love the Legacies. It's a great entry-level lightsaber as far as the quality, the design. It doesn't have the greatest electronics, which we all know that. But, I mean, for a licensed product that looks pretty close to screen accurate for the majority of what they've made, I think it's a better buy. So, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate it. Don't forget, again, like I said, right over here, hit that like and subscribe button so that way you can support the channel. I do appreciate that. Hit the notification bell so that way you get the most up-to-date notifications. And we'll see you guys on the next review video. Until then, thank you very much, and may the Force be with you.